Na, 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 na. Yeah. I'm in $1 million mood. I'ma shout it from the roof in $1 million mood. Yeah. I woke up feeling great, sun is shining on my face. Now I'm just kicking back with these rosy colored glasses on. What a dream, grass never looked so green. Little birdies in the tree keep singing my favorite song. It must be my lucky day. Everything go in my way. Never looking down because I'm way up. I keep the smile on my face, 'cause I can sleep in all day and stay up all night. I'm living my dream, I'm living my life. Got nowhere to be and nothing to do but kick my feet up and enjoy the view. I'm in $1 million mood. I'ma shout it from the roof in $1 million mood. If I jump, I might fly to a cloud in the sky. People waving from the ground when they see me passing by. With my hands in the air and the sun in my eyes, I just wanna shout it out. It's the best day of my life. Feeling like I just got paid. I could do this every day. Never looking down when I'm on the way up. Keep a smile on my face, 'cause I sleeping all day and stay up all night. I'm living my dream, I'm living my life. Got nowhere to be and nothing to do but kick my feet up and enjoy the view. I'm in $1 million mood.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another live stream for Python network automation, the journey that I'm on here. Greatly appreciate you guys for being here. It's the day after Halloween, so I think I did okay with not staying out too late and all that. But let me know where you guys are coming from in the chat. Want to know where you guys are, what you guys are up to, and how was your day yesterday for Halloween, if you celebrated Halloween. Now, on this specific live stream, what we're going to go through here is the Python loops. And I found that as I was reading through a lot of the material, the Python loops are used quite a bit. They're going to be used for iterating through certain things. When you meet a certain condition, you could always check for something. And so what I've read and what I've learned is that a for loop is a way to go through an iteration of a number of things, like a number of devices. Let's say you want to check for interfaces on a network device, so you can write a for loop to go and do that. And then we have the while loop. The while loop is an interesting one because an example would be a network monitor that keeps checking until something changes, until it reaches maybe a false condition. And so that's what's interesting about the while loop. And so in this live stream, I'm just going to go through some exercises of creating the for loop and the while loop, and then we'll go through the syntax of what that looks like. So why don't we go through currently what that means. So if I can head over to my screen here. Oh, by the way, say hello to my network architect. That's Bingo over there. Say hi, Bingo. Hello. There she goes. She said hello. All right. And so now we'll head over to Visual Studio Code to actually get started with for loop. And so I kind of got these documents started here. And the first exercise that I wanted to go through is the basic syntax. The for loop starts with the keyword for, right? So you just do for, and then you want to start looping through something. And so we'll say, actually, you know what, before that, why don't we create a list of devices that we'll loop through? Now, I haven't gone through a list yet in any of my videos, but let's say switch 1 and then switch 2. Maybe we'll do firewall 1. Oops. Got to put them in encapsulated in quotes. So that's a simple list of devices that we're adding 3 devices into this list. And then we'll iterate through those devices in that list. What I want to do is in this for loop, we'll start it off with the keyword for, and then we'll just say device in devices. And then we end it with a colon. And so I am referencing this list here, right here. And then the, I guess the variable within that list, I will want to go through each one in that list. Then we'll hit enter, and you can see that it's indented. So we want to use a for loop to print each device. I think the easiest way would be to just use a print function and then just say device, I think. And then we'll go ahead and run that with this command up here, or this button. There you go. So I did run that for loop.py. That's the script that I have running, and was able to run through that list and print each device. Switch 1, switch 2, and firewall 1. That's a very simple way of doing it. And I'm running through just a list of exercises that I came up with. And so again, that's the syntax for a very simple for loop. Now let's say I wanted to create a VLAN configuration. So I'm used to taking a template from a file and then putting that into for a configuration for a Cisco switch, for example. Used to do this a lot, where we would define all the VLANs and name the VLANs into a configuration. You would have to do that all manually. And so we could take this for loop and kind of configure that for us. And so I will erase this here. All right, there we go. And what I want to do is generate a VLAN configuration for a number of VLANs. So for example, let's say for VLAN, and let's say I want to do it for 10 VLANs, or, let's start small, 5 VLANs. We could end up, just typing a print statement that says print VLAN 10, etc., right? Like, you'd have to do that about 5 times. But we want to use a for loop to help generate that for us. So I can say for VLAN in, and then use a really cool function here called range. And I will say from range 1, that's where we're going to start. And I want to do up to VLAN 5. And so we will stop at 6. And that's just how that range command works. And we'll hit colon at the end. We can say print the code. So this will be the configuration lines. So I'm going to say VLAN, and then we want the number, right? We'll use a concatenation, and we'll take this variable right here, VLAN, and we'll add it down here. But this would be an integer. Whatever you get out of here is a range. In the range, it would be an integer in the file, or in the variable. So we would need to convert that to a string. So I think that would work, right? One too many parentheses. And what I could do is run this and see what happens. Hopefully I did it right. Yeah. So you can see VLAN 1, but you see how there's no space, right? So in a Cisco switch configuration, that's not how you would define a VLAN. You would do like config T and then type VLAN and the ID number. And so what I need to do here is, after the keyword VLAN, just add a space. And so it'll print out VLAN with a space and then the VLAN number, right? So there you go. You got VLAN 1, 2, etc. But usually then we name these VLANs, right? So we could add another print statement to the end here. and we'll give this VLAN a name, but I will indent it. I actually don't know how many indents it uses, but let's say name, right? We name a VLAN. We'll include the space, but then we want to give the name of the VLAN, maybe the VLAN ID also. So we'll do the concatenation again, and then we'll do VLAN. We'll make it simple. VLAN underscore and then the ID number. But what I will have to do is concatenate again and convert the VLAN right here, this VLAN, which is currently an integer, back into a string. And so I type that, and hopefully then we have our iOS configuration for VLANs. So there you go, VLAN. So you can see now I've already iterated through a number of VLANs there. Very simple way to just build out config, kind of a easy, just an easy automation, right? You can create your own templates this way, and I think I'll try to iterate on this in the future to try to determine, how we can better enhance what this would look like, and also come up with more code. I'm just getting started, so I'm just really trying to learn how to get these for loops working in a way that makes me think a little bit creatively, and I need to get into the right mindset of making that work, right? And so maybe there's some other ways that we could use the for loop. If I go back, what if I'm going through some exercises that I have here. So one of the exercises that I have is to do a port status check. And this kind of adds to the complexity of the whole script. So let's say I have a list of switches that I need to iterate through, like switch 1, switch 2, and switch 3. Right? Very simple. We got a small network here. But let's say there's some ports to check. Ports. I'll call it monitored ports. And we'll also make that a list. Now, you probably wouldn't do it this way because you'll actually use a for loop to go iterate through these. But we're not there yet, and I'm trying to make this simple. Yeah, port 1, 2, and 3, and maybe also port 48. So we got 2 lists here. Haven't gone through lists yet. And my goal here is to generate maybe a status command that says, hey, I'm going to check switch 1, port 1, switch 1, port 2, and show the interface status, right? And so let me try to iterate through that. So we're going to go through the switch. I don't know if this will work. For switch in switches. And we're going to do a nested for loop, I think, because then we got to go for port in monitored ports. Then I think we would go, I want to put in the output that it's checking that particular switch and its port. So I'm going to say checking space plus switch plus port, and then I'm gonna have to put the port, which I don't know if that if this will make it integers. I guess we'll find out. Port. We can see if that works just by running that command. Okay, checking switch 1, port 1. Checking switch 1, port 1, 2, 3, 48. I don't even know how to fix this. Oh, that's because I just have it set to that. But let's see. we gotta maybe finish off the print, and then I want to run a command. Like for example, I'm just gonna run a command where it would just say show interface G10, then we'll concatenate with the port. I don't know if this is gonna work, guys. Let's see. I did not do it right. So so this is where I tend to struggle, is if I'm checking switches in here and then also the ports, I'm nesting. So for each switch and switches, look at each port in the monitored ports. And I want to say checking the switch plus port. Yeah, how do we do that where it doesn't list everything? And so I'm going to have to dig into this. So if I'm thinking about it, maybe we use, I know in my past review of looking at Python, maybe we use the F string. Print, because we want to include the port number with the switch name. Checking, I'll call out the switch. So this is a way to call out the value in that variable switch. And then checking switch port, and then the port. Will that work? Nope, still does it that way. Why? Yeah, how do I print just the one port? For switch in switches, for port and monitored ports. Oh, I messed up right here, guys. I made the whole thing one, so it should just be that. Glad I caught that. So start over again. So the mistake I made is I made one item. Instead of listing out each of these as individual list items, I made it one. It's a list of just one, which is just includes these. And I encapsulated it in quotes. So there you go. So now it's a variable. Each one is a variable, I think. So it goes for switch in switches, colon. Then you can see it's indented. And then for port in monitored ports. Then I think I can do print, checking, concatenate, switch, checking switch. I need to go back to what my exercise is supposed to be. The outputs should say checking switch and then the port plus port. I'll add a space in there and then concatenate the port. But I will need to convert that to a string. Will that work? Yep. Checking. Oh, I need to add a space here. So to do that, we would just concatenate again, but with the space. Or I should add the space. There you go. There you go. Checking switch 1, port 1. Maybe I could also add in a colon so it looks, because what I'm going to do underneath that is run the actual command that I want to run. So that would be like a show interface G10. I'm just assuming we're on one switch. So I'll leave, I won't add the last number because I'm going to pick that number out of the monitored ports list and include that at the end there. And what I'll do is use the concatenation again and say port. All right, I think that's, oh, and then in the command, it would say status, I think. Show interface G1/0/1 status. Hopefully that runs. There we go. All right. Now what I would like is maybe it doesn't show it in one block. Should add some space. So I'll add a print statement to just print a blank line. So I'm going to check switch 1, port 48. There's a status. Go to switch 2, port 1. That's the command we're going to run. And then once I get to a more advanced method, I would probably go and make that query to the switch and show the actual output. But I'm not there yet. Okay, so that's for loops. I wonder if we can do an exercise where there should be like an if command in there. I'm trying to find all my exercises that I've done. Let me see. And the if commands, I'm just trying to bring those commands over to the looping, because I think that will be done quite a bit. Like if this interface is up or down, then what do you do, right? And so when we do for loops, and then I'll get to the while loop right after this. So maybe we want to check status of the interfaces. And so this is an exercise that also includes, I think, a list with a dictionary. And so if we're going to analyze a bunch of interfaces, and we're just going to assume that we're making queries to switches, but I don't have that available to me yet. And so I'm taking this piece of code and I'm going to paste this, because this is not really part of the exercise. All right. And so what this is giving us is some information that we can query with the for loop and using the if-else statement within the loop. And our goal here with this exercise is to report on the statuses, what's up, what's down. And so we can count on what those would be. So there's different statuses in here. We can have, tell me how many are up, and we'll start off with creating a variable that sets the number there, because when we create the code, it won't know what some of these variables are when we type them in there. We're starting it off with a 0 count. So I'm just assigning 0 to these variables. And that's a 0. And so when we look at the for loop, we're going to go for interface in interface statuses. So there's that colon. And so here we would want to check if, okay, this is like a lot more advanced than I'm used to. So it for interface in interface status, what we want to do is say, because we have that, we want to say print I wanted to start off with saying print I'm going to pretend like it's a report that I'm running. And so that's my heading. And then I'm going to print that line maybe like 3 times. I don't know what that looks like. Let me see. Okay. All right. Good enough for me. Oops. For interface in interface statuses. So I'm going to look at this here. I want to know if the interface is up. But this is like a list with some dictionary items. And so in the prompt, it's giving me, I can do interface name, and because we're going to call these out. And I'll get to this in a future video, but interface status equals interface status. Okay, so now we get to the if statement. And in the if statement, I'm going to say, hey, if the interface is up, then increment this variable. If the interface is down, increment this variable, and so on, right? And that's why we started off with 0. And so if I go back here, if interface status equals up, then what was that? Let me minimize this. Up count. So up count equals up count plus 1. So we're saying 0 plus 1. And then we can just say something like interface name right here. Or should that be, yeah, interface name, and then interface status. And that's it. I don't know what else to put there. We'll just do that. And then we'll use the else if, because we want to check for the other statuses. So interface status is down, then we'll do the down count. Down count is down, or down count is down count plus 1, and then print interface status with the, or no, interface name. Whoa, what did I just do there? Interface name, and then interface stat. I don't know if I'm doing this right, so let me see if I run it. And I didn't do it right. So I need to work on that. And I don't have the time to do it. I need to go back. I'll move forward and go to the while loop, just because we haven't done that yet. And so when we look at the, let me see. And I have to move kind of quick because I have an appointment right after this. So let me look at these while loop exercises. Sorry, guys. I'm going to have to look back at that exercise, and it's a little too far in advance for me. I didn't even prep for that one. Now the while loop is checking on something until it's false, right? And then it'll keep executing on this code until it meets a certain condition. Whoa, I didn't want to ask a question there. So we're going to import a module called random, which allows us to do random numbers. And we'll just set some variables called max retries. We're gonna pretend to do like a retry logic. So max retries, we'll set that to 5. Retry count, we'll set that to 0. And then connected, we'll set that to false, right? And so what we want to do is to keep trying until we're successful or max retries has reached, or the max retries has been reached. And so if we do while retry count is less than the max retries and it's not connected, then we want to do this is where the import comes in, because we're just going to randomize this. And so this is the while exercise. And we want to do the retry large. So if we do, let me think about this. So while the retry count is less than the max retries and it's not connected, then we can do something like retry count, because we got to increase this until it reaches the max 5. And then we'll say something like attempting retry and then I want to call retry count. We'll see if that works. And then for the connected, I think this is where we do the random. So we'll say connected. We want to make it, right now it's set to false. We want to just randomize that. And so this is where we call this function from the random module. And we'll set that to true, false. It can pick between one of those two randomly. That's what the random choice is. And so we can use the if statement here. If it is connected, then we can print something like connection successful. But if it is not, then we use the else statement and we can say print connection failed. And if it failed, we want to retry. So if the retry count is less than the max retries, then we will, what other variables did I add there? We can say print retrying connection. I don't know if that's going to work, guys. I don't know. Let's see. Can only concatenate a string. So again, this right here, that's a variable, an integer variable. So I need to change that. Attempting retry 1 connection. So randomly was able to, so it looked like it failed one time and it's retrying again, and then it was able to work. And so where that, it made it under 5 max retries. So while it was retrying, it's retrying one time. It's under the max 5, and it wasn't connected. And so I said attempting retry and what the count is. So it went from 0 to 1. So it's retry 1. And this here just tells it, hey, pick a random true or false and set that to connected. Because if it's true, then we'll just say connection successful, and that's it. That's the end of that. And so we were able to do it in one try. And so we can do it again. And you can see how it retried 1, 2, 3 more times until it was successful. So that's a while loop. And so that's where I'm going to end it, because there's obviously so much more that I need to know and understand with for loops and while loops. And I'm just going to go through a number of exercises to help me understand how I could integrate that with if and else statements as well. Just stuff that I've learned in the previous videos and the previous chapters that I've learned from the book. And so that's currently where I'm at. And I want to thank you guys for watching this video. If you have any tips for me, leave them down in the comments. Would really appreciate it, but definitely need to do a lot more exercises here to get to a better state in understanding loops. Thank you guys.